Hey everybody, I'm Andy Morris, Director of Golf here at Desert Highlands, and today we're going to continue our course care series, and we're going to talk a little bit more about bunker raking and bunker care. And if you watch all the way till the end, we've had a lot of questions about how to hit shots out of our dormant Bermuda rough, which is unique to this season as we did an overseed. So watch all the way till the end, and I got a couple tips for you to play that stuff as well. Let's head on into the bunker. So let's start off by talking about rake placement. This rake, as you can see, has been placed halfway in and halfway out of the bunker. Our preference here at Desert Highlands is to always keep the rake out of the bunker, just along the edge. The reason we do that is if a ball was rolling into this bunker, it could get stopped by the rake and end up with a really severe lie when it normally would have rolled down to the bottom. So rakes always come out of the bunkers. Also want to place the rake when we're done with the bunker at the entry exit point. So a lot of our new bunkers have a small white stake that marks the best place to get in and out. That's where you want to leave the bunker. On holes like 14 or 7, when there's a tongue that comes down into the bunker for access, that's where you want to leave that rake if that's where you got it from. So always want to have them at the entry exit point and always want to have them outside of the bunker. Here we have a good example of a bunker that's been raked, but not raked very well. This is why it's so important to push the rake when you're exiting the bunker to smooth out the sand. You can see there's a lot of furrows here where the rake was dropped and put a dent into the sand. If your ball ended up in that condition, you're not going to be very happy with your lie. We missed a little spot there. We didn't fill back in the hole. So those are two really tough lies. Even though the bunker was raked, it wasn't raked very well. So always want to make sure we are pushing the rake through the sand. Only takes a second for me to make that a significantly smoother surface. Now if my ball ends up there, I'm going to have a pretty clean lie. All right, so let's talk a little bit about hitting chip shots out of this dormant Bermuda rough that we have this season. Best advice I ever got about playing out of Bermuda is you have to read the lie. To keep things simple, I divide the lies into 3 categories. I've created an example of each, and then I make a couple of adjustments for each type to help me get more consistent results. All right, so I've created 3 lies here to give us examples of the 3 kind of general buckets I put these in. The first one is the ball that's sitting really down deep into the rough. That's a hard one to control. It's really difficult to spin the ball out of that one. There's the medium one, kind of halfway down, and then there's the one that's sitting up on top. I actually think that one's the most tricky because it's very unpredictable. But let's talk about how we're going to handle each one. So we'll start with what I think is the easiest one to handle. That's the ball that's halfway down in the rough. That's the most like a normal shot. All I'm going to do, you normally get grass caught between the club and the golf ball, so it's going to reduce spin. So you may need to take a little bit more loft. You may want to open the club just a little bit, but this is a pretty standard chip shot from that condition. So don't have to make a ton of adjustments there other than understanding that the ball's not going to have a lot of spin on it. The trickiest one, in my opinion, is the ball that's sitting right up on top of the turf. So the ball's sitting up really high. It's really easy if you've played in this at all, if you've had one of these yet this season, it's really easy to go right under the ball. So we want to make sure we don't do that. We got to make clean contact. We want to try to still hit the sweet spot, even though the ball's actually off the ground about an inch in this lie right here. So the first thing I do is I grip down just a little bit to shorten the club. That helps keep me from going underneath it. Another couple of adjustments that I'll make is I may go and get less loft because the tendency is to have these come out kind of high and soft if I go under just a little bit. So depending on the shot I'm facing, I may go with a lower lofted club in order to get more energy onto the golf ball. And then my motion is going to change just a little bit. It's more of a sweeping motion. I don't want to be too much up and down for this lie because if I get too steep, it's really easy to go right underneath it. So if I go with a little bit lower lofted club, grip down just a touch, and then think about sweeping the ball, I get really nice contact there. The last one is the ball that's sitting way down in the rough. This is a hard shot to hit close to the pin, but what you have to do, I think it's pretty simple to know how it's going to come out. Really hard to get any loft or spin on this because you have to, it's kind of the opposite of the one that's on top. you actually have to get a little steeper to get down to the ball. So I like to take extra loft, may want to open the club just a little bit. I'm going to stand a little closer to try to swing a little more up and down and really just kind of pop into the back of the golf ball. It's almost a little bit like a bunker shot. I know I'm going to hit the grass first and then the ball, so I need to swing just a little harder to make sure I get through that rough. Want to tighten my grip pressure a little bit also to help me make sure I get through the rough. Really hard to spin this ball, that's why I'm taking more loft. So I have to play for it to roll out a bit. I want to land it a little shorter and let it roll out. And that one's releasing pretty much all the way to the hole. So those are the 3 buckets I put the short shots into. You got the ball on top of the turf, need to sweep it a little bit more. The one in the middle, that's the closest to a normal shot, and the one that's down, I gotta be a little steeper, a little more up and down with my motion. Hopefully that helps you get out of the Bermuda rough around the greens. All right, last but not least, since this is a course care video, I just hit a couple of pitch shots into this green from the rough. That pitch shot still made a ball mark. I'm not sure if you can see this too well on the video, but there's a ball mark right here where my pitch shot landed. What we're seeing through the first few weeks of the golf course being open, the majority of players are doing a nice job with fixing ball marks from full shots, but we see a lot of these smaller pitch marks from short game shots that are not getting fixed. So we still want to fix those with the same method. Make a hole right in the center and then work around the mark to fill it, and then tap it down with my putter or my foot, and I get a nice smooth surface to putt over. Want to make sure we fix all those pitch marks as well. Thank you so much for taking care of our great golf course while you're out there playing, and we'll see you all on the tee.